Hi, in this video I will try to explain you how to judge the double Dutch difficulty. This you can find on page 16 of the judging manual. So how to judge double Dutch difficulty? Well, there are two parts in it. You always have turners and you always have jumpers. You have to judge the jumper and you have to judge the turners, and that you just have to add together. For instance, if the turners are doing at a certain moment a level 2 skill and the jumper is doing a level 1 skill, you have to write down on your paper the number 3 and not 2, not 1, but the number 3. Same thing if the turners do a level 3 and the jumper does a level 2, then you will have to write down a level 5. You do not have to go higher than 5. If you would have jumpers doing a level 3 and the turners also doing a level 3, you do not write down the 6 but the 5, because the 5 is the highest level you get credit for. So if they would do a level 6 or 7, you still only get a level 5. So, as I mentioned before, you have to judge the turning and the jumping at the same time. Let's start with the turning. So first of all, some things that we have to say about the double Dutch is that you have in principle different ways to turn. You have the normal double Dutch, you have the Irish double Dutch or snappers, and you also have some Chinese wheel that you can turn in. So these are the different ways of turning, and these are the ways that we give credit for. We do not, why do I tell you all of this? I just tell it because I want to emphasize this part here where we say that in single Dutch, when you have both ropes turning in the same direction without a phase difference, then you will not be scored. So that's just the only reason why I'm saying this whole part, that in the single double Dutch, whatever you do in there, it is not scored. In principle, a repeated jumper skill or a repeated transition, such as going from a frog to a push-up, will only be scored a second time. So if you do it again in the routine, for the difficulty, if the turning was done in the other way of turning. So if you had you already did it in double Dutch, then you're not allowed to do it in double Dutch again. Or when you already did it in double Dutch, you are allowed to do it in Chinese wheel, but then later on in Chinese wheel, then you are not allowed to do it in double Dutch again or in Chinese wheel again. So it's or Chinese wheel, so you can do it in Chinese wheel and in double Dutch, but you cannot do 2 times the same thing in double Dutch or 2 times the same thing in Chinese wheel. Okay, that's a general thing. Then we go to how to judge the things that the jumper is doing. If we first are looking at double Dutch single freestyle, so that's a freestyle where you only have 3 people. In general, 2 people are turning the ropes and 1 person is jumping. The jumper can get a level 1, level 2 or a level 3. The level 1, it's basically all the easy stuff. It's all basic footwork. That is a level 1. Level 2 is where you go or you come out of a special position of your body, and that's a very general thing. You can go to a frog, you can go to a push-up, you can come out of a push-up, you can go to a split, you can come out of a split. So every time when you go into such a skill and also when you come out of such a skill, you get a level 2. So basically if you do the normal push-up, going into the push-up and coming out of the push-up, then you get 2 level 2s. So on your paper you have to write down 2, 2 and not level 4 or whatever. No, it's 2, 2. If you are doing transitions from one special position of the body to a different or the same special position of your body, you get a level 3. Examples from frog to push-up, but also from push-up to push-up, from push-up to split, etc. So all these transitions are level 3, and of course if you come out of this transition, it stays of course a level 2. Then we have a special category, the gymnastic skills. Let's say the easy gymnastic skills are level 2 every time when you jump over the rope when you're doing this gymnastic skill. The more difficult ones are level 3, such as a front flip, back flip, kip and so on. And all kind of aerials, where they do for instance cartwheels without hands or a suicide, those are level 4. If you would do a double Dutch pair freestyle, so where you have in general 2 people jumping inside the ropes, then you have to write down 1 level 1 if both of them do a level 1, do the same level 1 skill or another level 1 skill, doesn't really matter. Or maybe one person is doing a level 2 or even a level 3 skill and the other one only a level 1 skill, then it stays a level 1 skill. So if they both do a different level, then it's the lowest level that we give credit for. And that's just a general thing. Also for a level 2, if they both do the same level 2, they get 1 level 2. If they both do a different level 2, they get 1 level 2. And if one of them does a level 3 and the other one a level 2, then you also get only a level 2. Okay, same thing for level 3s. They have to do, both of them have to do a level 3, or both of them have to do a level 3, but it can be the same or a different level 3. Then we have a few small extras. All forms of leapfrogs and jumping on people, stuff like that, that's all a level 2. Also, when you get an extra level for difficulty, if you have what we call physical contact, so this you only can have in a double Dutch pair freestyle with 2 people jumping. When you have physical contact due to which you're not really helping each other, not helping each other at all, such as a friend mule kick, for instance, where both of them are doing a one-handed frog, but they're holding each other, so they're not really helping each other. Or there are a lot of other examples. So you get this one extra level at the moment when you have the physical contact and it becomes harder to jump this type of skill. Just a small side note, it's only applicable for at least level 2 skills. Then if you are assisting a person, for instance throwing a person into a salto, you get 1 level less than what it should be. So for instance a suicide normally is level 4. If you would throw a person into a suicide, then this whole thing would be a level 3. Also going over or under each other while doing at least a level 2 skill is also 1 extra level. The typical example is a subway where one person is doing push-up under another person also doing push-up. Just when you're going over each other, that is when you get this extra level. And then one more thing, you can also do a salto over a level 2 skill, then this whole thing will be a level 4 skill. So that's what you need to know for the jumpers. Then you also need to know a lot of things for the turners. So while the jumpers are doing stuff, you have to look at the jumpers at the same time. First of all, you have to look at the rope and also how restricted this rope is turned. So you get 1 level, the turners get 1 level if the rope that is jumped by the skipper or skippers is turned with 1 restricted hand. So if you follow the rope to its handles and one of the handles is turned in a restricted way, for instance in a Kruger, then you will get 1 extra level. So if the jumper would do a level 2, he's going to a push-up and they're turning this rope when he is going to this push-up with a Kruger, then you would write down not a 2, not a 1, but a level 3. If you follow the rope to the handles on both sides and both of these handles are restricted, then you will get 2 levels for that moment. An important one, if a turner continues turning the rope in a certain restricted position, for instance he stays in the Kruger, you will only get credit, will only be given for the first time the rope is jumped in that restricted position. For the first time the rope is jumped in that restricted position and also at that speed. So if they would do first of all, if they would go to a Kruger and they first of all would turn it in a single, so normal double Dutch, then they would turn a double under while still standing in a Kruger, and then even a triple under and a quadruple under, then you still each time you will get credit for the Kruger, but not if you keep on turning in single or keep on doing doubles while you're still in the same restricted position without coming out of the restricted position. This is also applicable for the basic jump. So in Chinese wheel you will see that if you're doing the Chinese wheel and a person is jumping in the center of the Chinese wheel, when you're doing the Chinese wheel you will get 1 extra level, the jumpers will get one level for that, but if they keep jumping in this Chinese wheel without any other restrictions, it will only be the first jump that is done in that wheel for which you get the credit. Also the turners get an extra level if they turn a double, they get 2 extra levels if they turn a triple or a quadruple, and they get 3 extra levels if they turn even faster. Then it becomes a little bit more complicated if you manage to turn multiples like doubles and triples and quads while you are restricting your hands or restricting the handles. Then you just have to look at all the ropes that are going under the feet of the jumper, and then you look at each rope and you give credit for the rope that is most restricted. So if if you're turning a double under and one turner is turning a Kruger, one rope will not be restricted, the other rope will be restricted on one side, so you will get 1 level for the double under and also 1 level for the Kruger. If for instance the turners are also turning a double under, one person is standing in Kruger and on the other side the same rope is also in a Kruger, then you will have one rope that has no extra points and one rope that has 2 restrictions. So the highest is the 2 restrictions, so you will get a level 1 for the double and also 2 extra levels for the 2 restrictions, so in total you will get 3 extra levels for the way that they are turning. But if you do it in a different way, if you would do a double under and also a Kruger done by one jumper, by one turner, and also a Kruger on the other side by the other turner, but they use the different rope, then basically each rope has one restricted handle, is turned with one restricted hand, then you will only get 1 extra level because each rope has only 1 extra point, but we're not adding this up, no, we only take the highest restriction, and in this case it's the same for both ropes, it's only 1 level, so you will get 1 level for the double under and 1 level for all the Krugers together. If you of course can land in a skill while you're doing a multiple under, you will get of course, while you can do a double, you will get of course this extra skill, and if you do a quadruple and so on, you can get 2 extra skills. If you can do even more, you can get 3 extra skills of course. Then if you, as a turner, sometimes you can also jump the rope. In general, when you jump the rope, like in a Chinese wheel or in a jump through, you will get also 1 level for this. If a turner, as mentioned before, if a turner continues jumping in the same manner without changing the restriction or speed, credit will only be given for the first time the rope is jumped by the turner. This is what I already mentioned in the Chinese wheel. Then if you manage to restrict your hands while you're jumping the rope, this is possible when you're doing, for instance, in a Chinese wheel, a crisscross, they will get extra levels in addition to the level of the jumping. In case of jumping in Chinese wheel, only the turner who jumps gets 1 or 2 extra levels. He gets 1 extra level if one of his hands are limited, and he gets 2 extra levels if both of his hands are limited. So in the Chinese wheel, giving credit for the restrictions, we only look at a person that is jumping the rope, so the turner who is jumping the rope. If he has 1 hand in a restricted position, you get 1 point. If he has 2 hands in a restricted position, he gets 2 points. We are not looking at all at what the other person is doing at that moment. And then sometimes people do a release. When you catch a release, then you get an extra level 3. So that's the theory of the difficulty double dutch. I know it's a lot and it's difficult to understand, but we will go through a freestyle in another video where you will see that if you do it very slowly, then you will probably understand. You just need a lot of practice.